Welcome to Dive Deeper.
Hello everyone, I'm Christopher, and this is Oliver.
Chris, I'm really glad that you started helping out with Dive Deeper this year.
Thanks, I am too.
You weren't here when Dive Deeper first started, and so I'd like to actually take a minute tonight to share a bit of the story about what Dive Deeper is all about.
Okay, sure.
So before COVID, there were these two great youth leaders, and they were named Cam and Amy. Who remembers Cam and Amy? Well, during the summer, when we wouldn't have our regular youth group stuff going on, they invited students over to their house who wanted to go deeper in their faith. Students who wanted to learn more about following Jesus and take this Christianity thing seriously. They would eat hot dogs every week and hang out for a bit and then do a Bible study and talk and share, and it was really amazing, and they called it Dive Deeper.
So that's how Dive Deeper started.
Yeah, so what Cam and Amy were doing was so great that we decided to get more leaders involved so that we could have more homes to host Dive Deeper groups so that more students could get involved.
Well, I'm glad my wife Sarah and I could help out this year.
Yeah, and anyway, I wanted to remind us all about what Dive Deeper is all about. It's to have a space for students who want to take a step deeper in their faith, to learn what it really means to follow Jesus. So that's why we have the assigned Bible readings and journaling each week, is because reading the Bible for yourself and reflecting on how it actually applies to your life is one of the greatest ways to go deeper in your faith.
But we also want to remind everyone that we want you to start where you're at.
Yeah.
If you're brand new to reading the Bible, maybe you won't read all 5 chapters every week. But everyone can read 1 chapter from Matthew. And if you've got that down, try taking a step deeper and read 2 or 3 new chapters.
That's right. Start where you're at and then just keep taking 1 step deeper and 1 step deeper.
All right, so why don't we stop there with a warm-up question? What is something really nice that someone has done for you? I want to share some thoughts with you on an expression you've probably heard before. Go the second mile. Did you know that that saying comes from verse 41 in chapter 5?
Yeah, so it says, "And whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2." So what is Jesus' point?
In this chapter, Jesus is making a broader point about how we are to be selfless and loving, even to those who want to use and even abuse us.
Right, and in this way we'll be salt and light of the earth, people that preserve the good things and that heal and bring hope. But is there something that we miss 2,000 years later?
Well, did you know that in Jesus' time, a soldier could come along the road to any civilian, that'd be a person like you, and interrupt what they were doing to force that person to carry the soldier's armor and equipment for about a mile. This wasn't a gentle ask for help. It was someone with power over you, inconveniencing your day so that theirs could be made a little easier without thought to how it affected you.
So that seems a little unfair.
For sure it is. But this is the calling Jesus gives us. We are not just to help and care for those who love us, but also for those that hate us and simply want to use us so that they can get where they want to go. And not only that, are we supposed to do what they ask, but we are to go above and beyond what they ask from you, to do double the distance in this case.
So why do you think Jesus wants us to do that?
I think mostly because that is part of how we're bringing healing and hope to people. Everyone cares for their own people and families and hates those who hates them. But Jesus is seeking to restore all of humanity to him, and our part in that is to help by not repeating cycles of violence, cycles of hate and abandonment, by doing the opposite, loving despite being hated, helping instead of abandoning, and healing instead of hurting.
So do you have any examples of that?
Have you ever thought or heard someone say something like, "I would help or give to that person, but only if I knew they would be thankful"?
Right.
Or, "I don't want to help them because it's inconvenient and they won't do anything for me." Or maybe in the future you'll come across this, someone poor or perhaps homeless asking for money or food, and you'll think, "I'm concerned about giving to them because they're just taking advantage of me, or they don't deserve what I gave them because they're just wasting it. All these thoughts and more are natural and even encouraged at times in our society because we live in a broken world. Jesus shows us that we are made for more. We weren't just made for a perfect creation that we long for. We are made also to bring order, peace, and love into this one that is broken.
Yeah, so in short, Jesus wants us to love and care for people like he does, selflessly and full of compassion, even when it's inconvenient for us and unfair.
So, has there been a time in your life when you did or perhaps should have helped someone that you didn't like you? So, Oliver, what stood out to you?
Yeah, so what really stood out to me in Matthew chapter 5 were verses 14 to 16. Could you read them for me?
For sure. Matthew 5, 14 to 16. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand, where it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your good deeds shine out before all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father.
Thanks.
No problem.
So in this section, Jesus is talking about how we should live good lives, loving people like Jesus loved people. But not so that they just think that we're nice, but so that people will praise our heavenly Father. That's how Jesus says it.
Okay, so the good things we do, they're not for people to think we're awesome, but so that they look at us and say, man, Jesus must really have done something deeper in all of his life because his life shows it so much. He treats people with so much love.
Yeah, so our good lives should point to Jesus, not ourselves. But here's another cool little tidbit that I wanted to share. So right now I'm taking a Greek class at Acadia, and you know where Jesus says, you are the light of the world? Well, the word you is actually plural.
Okay, so it's plural. Take me back to grammar class for a sec.
Yeah, so plural, if you don't know, just means that there's more than one. So in English, we only have one word for you. It can mean you, Chris, just one person, or it can mean you, the Dive Deeper group, more than one person. But in Greek, they actually had two different words, one for singular you and one for plural you.
Okay, so it's the same in French.
Right.
Singular you is tu, and plural you is vous.
Yeah, exactly. It's the exact same thing in Greek. And so when Jesus says, you are the light of the world, he's saying that all of the followers of Jesus shine God's light into the world by how we're a community of love. Not just how each one of us on our own is an individual nice person, but the world will see the love of Jesus in us by how we as a community love each other and how we as followers of Jesus love other people who aren't followers of Jesus.
Okay, so for example, we as a community can love other people by including new friends who are new to church or new to youth group, who feel like they're on the outside.
Right.
We can welcome them in to our group and talk to them and ask them questions about themselves and invite them to play games with us or whatever.
Yeah, totally. Or as a community, we can shine the light of Jesus by serving our town or serving our region together, kind of like we did this summer at Undercurrent. Who was at Undercurrent this past summer?
All right, that sounds great. But I want us to get really practical, really clear on some different ideas of how this could actually work in our lives.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So why don't we make that our discussion question? So I want you to get really specific and really practical. What are ways that we can love people like Jesus as a community, not just as individuals? Also, when you're done, there will be one more short bit in the video tonight to wrap up.
All right, well, I hope you guys had a good discussion and you've got some ideas about what that you can put into practice in your lives this week.
Now that Chris and I have had a chance to share from our readings and journals, it's your guys' turn. So take a few minutes to share anything that stood out to you. Maybe something inspiring or interesting, or maybe a question or something that didn't make sense.
All right, talk about that now, and we'll see you next week.